This is Everyday Tension. Real stories based on real experiences about everyday conflicts people rarely talk about. This story was shared anonymously. If you'd like, you can support the channel by liking or subscribing and let me know in the comments where you're listening from. Here's what happened.
I guess I should start at the beginning, or what feels like the beginning now. I met Daryl 5 years ago. We were set up by a mutual friend who swore we'd hit it off, and for once, one of those setups actually worked. He was quiet, steadier than guys I'd dated before. He had a good job, he listened when I talked, and he made me feel calm. It wasn't a whirlwind, it was comfortable. After about 6 months, I remember thinking, yeah, I could see a future with this one. Meeting his mother was part of the deal, obviously. Daryl warned me she could be a bit much. He said it with a laugh, like it was a cute quirk. She's just very involved, he said. She cares a lot. I figured I could handle a caring mother. My own mum lives 3 states away and calls once a week. A little involvement sounded nice. The first dinner was at her house. She lives, just a street over from the apartment Daryl had at the time. She made a roast. The house was perfectly clean, everything in its place. She had Daryl for a long time when we walked in. Then she turned to me, looked me up and down, and her smile didn't really reach her eyes. "So you're Kate," she said. It wasn't a question. It was a statement, like she was identifying a specimen. Throughout dinner, she asked me questions, but they didn't feel like getting to know you questions. They felt like an interrogation. Where did I go to school? What did my parents do? What was my 5-year plan? She nodded slowly at each answer, not saying much. Then she turned to Daryl and started talking about people from the neighborhood, friends of his from high school, using their full names as if I should know them. "You remember Jennifer Miller, don't you, Daryl? Such a lovely girl. She's a pediatric surgeon now." She'd glance at me. "You work in marketing, is that right, Kate?" It was subtle. If I tried to explain it to someone, it would sound like I was being too sensitive. But you know the feeling, when the temperature in a room drops just a couple of degrees. You can't prove it, but you feel it. The name thing started that night, I think. She called me Katie a few times, which isn't my name. I corrected her gently. "It's just Kate." She'd wave a hand. "Oh, Katie, Kate, it's all the same." But then later she was telling a story about Daryl's prom, and she said, "And he took that nice girl, what was her name? Amanda? Allison?" She looked right at me. "Something with an A. You remind me of her a little bit." I didn't remind her of anyone. I have dark hair. Daryl's ex, the one I heard about later, was blonde. It was a little needle, a tiny push to see if I'd flinch. I just sat there and ate my roast. It was dry. That was the pattern. For the whole time we were dating, it was a series of little things. She'd forget I was coming for a holiday and not set a place for me. Daryl would have to scramble to get a chair. She'd give Daryl a beautifully wrapped gift, something really thoughtful he'd mentioned months before, and hand me a generic scented candle, still in the drugstore bag. One time, she gave me a sweater that was clearly meant for someone taller and thinner. The tag was still on it. It was from a store I knew she never shopped at. I thanked her anyway. Daryl said later, "She's just bad at gifts." Don't take it personally. But the birthday gift was the one that stuck with me. My first birthday with Daryl, we had a small party at his apartment. His mum came over. She handed me a gift bag. Inside was a set of towels. Very nice towels, actually. Thick, white, luxurious, but embroidered on them in fancy script with the initials AM. My initials are KR. I pulled them out, confused. I held them up. "Oh," she said, peering at them. "Are those not right?" "My initials are KR, I said. She took the towel from me, looked at the monogram. "Oh, for heaven's sake! I must have grabbed the wrong bag. I had that set monogrammed for Alice Mitchell from my book club. She just had a bathroom red done. How silly of me, Daryl laughed. Mom, you're so scatterbrained. She smiled at him. I am. I really am. Sorry, Kate. I'll get you the right one. She never did. I kept the towels in the back of my linen closet for a year before I finally donated them. I didn't want them in my house. That wasn't scatterbrained. You don't get expensive towels monogrammed for a friend and then accidentally give them to your son's girlfriend. You just don't. It was a message. It said, you are not the person who should be here. You are a placeholder. I tried to talk to Daryl about it. We'd be lying in bed after some family event where she'd made another comment, and I'd say, did you hear what your mum said about the meal I brought? He'd sigh. She said it was creative. She said, it's creative to use quinoa in a salad. Most people just use rice. That's not a compliment. She's from a different generation, Kate. She doesn't know how to give a compliment. She's awkward. It was always that. She's awkward. She's forgetful. She doesn't mean it. I started to doubt myself. Maybe I was reading too much into things. Maybe I was the one with the problem. I made more of an effort. I asked about her garden. I remembered her favorite tea and brought it over. I invited her to lunch, just the two of us. She cancelled last minute, saying she had a headache. She never rescheduled. The worst was the family picnic. It was a year into our relationship. Daryl's aunt and uncle were in town. We were all in his mum's backyard. His mum was telling a story about Daryl in college. Then she segued, smoothly, into talking about his ex-girlfriend, Rachel, the one before me. The one who was around for almost 3 years. She was such a bright girl, his mum said, sipping her lemonade. Just so driven, and so good for Daryl. Kept him on his toes. They were such a perfect match, really. Had the same goals. She looked around the table, her eyes skipping over me. It's a shame it didn't work out. Sometimes you just can't replace that kind of connection. There was a dead silence for a second. Daryl's aunt looked down at her plate. Daryl let out this weird, strangled laugh. Oh, Mum, come on. Ancient history. She just smiled. A sweet, innocent smile. I'm just saying, she was special. You don't meet people like that every day. My face felt like it was on fire. I stared at my potato salad. I wanted to disappear into the ground. I wanted to stand up and yell. But I didn't. I just sat there. That's what you do. You sit there and you take it. Because causing a scene makes you the crazy one. After everyone left, Daryl put his arm around me. She didn't mean it like that, he said. She's just nostalgic. She humiliated me, I said, my voice quiet. She didn't. No one even noticed. You're too sensitive about her. That too sensitive line became a mantra. I heard it in my own head. You're too sensitive. You're imagining things. Just let it go. We got engaged 2 years in. She cried when Daryl told her. He said they were happy tears. I wasn't there. When he told me about it, he seemed relieved. See, he said, she's happy for us. I wanted to believe him. I really did. Planning a wedding was a special kind of hell. She had an opinion on everything. The venue was too far away for her friends. The colors I chose were drab. The band was too loud. She wanted a mother-son dance that went on for 10 minutes, to a song that was specifically about a single mother raising her boy. I put my foot down on that one. Daryl backed me up, weakly. We already have a song picked out, Mum. She pouted. She said she just wanted to feel included. She wore a dress to the wedding that was awfully close to white. Champagne, she called it. It looked white in every single photo. People commented on it later. Friends of mine. What was up with your mother-in-law's dress? I just shrugged. I didn't have the energy to explain. We bought a house about 8 months after the wedding. It was a fixer-upper, but it had good bones. It was only 10 minutes from his mum's place, but in a different neighborhood. I saw it as a fresh start, our own space. Darryl was excited. He talked about projects we could do. For a little while, things felt good. The trouble started almost immediately after we moved in. The first week, we were exhausted, surrounded by boxes. His mum showed up unannounced with a casserole. That was nice, I thought, a sweet gesture. She walked right in. Darryl had given her a key for emergencies, and she put the casserole on the counter. Then she started opening cabinets. "You're putting the everyday plates here?" she said. "That doesn't make sense." "You'll want them closer to the dishwasher." "We're just getting things sorted, Carol," I said. I tried to call her by her name. Mum felt like a concession I wasn't ready to make. "Well, let me help. You'll regret it if you don't do it right the first time." And she started unpacking a box of my kitchen things, rearranging what I'd already put away. I looked at Darryl. He was grinning. "Isn't this great? Free help." It wasn't help. It was a takeover. That first visit set the tone. She started coming over almost every day. She'd let herself in. At first, it was under the guise of helping us settle. Then it was to drop something off. Then it was just because she was in the neighborhood. She'd walk in and immediately start tidying. She'd move the couch cushions the way she liked them. She'd rearrange the fruit bowl. She'd water my plants, even if I just watered them. One day, I came home from work and my books were organized by color on the living room shelf. I'd had them organized by genre. I stood there staring at the rainbow of spines. I felt a sharp pang of violation. That was my thing, my books. I talked to Darryl that night. She can't just let herself in whenever she wants. This is our home. I needed to feel like mine. He was annoyed. "She's just trying to help. She's lonely, Kate. Dad's been gone for years. This house is a project for her. It gives us something to do. It's not her project. It's our home. Can you just try to be a little grateful? She's doing a lot." Grateful. That was another word I started to hate. The criticism became more direct. She hated the paint color we chose for the living room. "It's so dark. It makes the room look small." She didn't like the new sofa. "It's going to stain so easily." She'd watch me cook dinner. "You're using garlic powder? Fresh garlic is so much better for you. I'll bring you some from my garden." She'd bring over her own food and put it in our fridge, labeling it, "For Darryl," with a little smiley face, as if I was going to poison him with my subpar cooking. One Tuesday, I'd made a lasagna. It was from my mum's recipe. I was proud of it. His mum came over just as we were about to sit down. Darryl invited her to join us. She took a small bite, chewed slowly, and put her fork down. "It's very hearty," she said. "A bit heavy on the cheese for my taste." "Darryl, you remember that lasagna Rachel used to make with the bechamel sauce? That was lighter. You loved that." I saw red. I literally saw spots in my vision. I didn't say anything. I just got up, took my plate, and scraped the entire thing into the trash. The clatter was loud in the quiet kitchen. I walked upstairs and shut our bedroom door. I heard Darryl's low murmur and her theatrical wounded whispers. I didn't come back down. An hour later, Darryl came up. He sat on the edge of the bed. "That was really rude, Kate." I didn't turn to look at him. "She was rude first. She was just making conversation. You wasted a whole meal. You embarrassed her." I had no words. The injustice of it sat on my chest, heavy and sour. Then she started taking things. It started small. A scarf I'd left on the back of a chair would go missing. I'd find it later draped over a chair on her porch when we visited. "Oh, I must have picked it up by mistake," she'd say. A lipstick vanished from my bathroom counter. I saw it in her purse a week later. When I pointed it out, she laughed. "We must have the same taste. I bought this at the drugstore." I knew she hadn't. It was a specific shade from a specific brand I ordered online. The jewelry incident was the point where I realized it wasn't petty theft. It was a power play. Daryl had given me a necklace for our first anniversary. It wasn't wildly expensive, but it was beautiful. A delicate silver chain with a small teardrop pearl. I loved it. I kept it in a little ceramic dish on my dresser. I came home from work one afternoon and the house was quiet. I thought I was alone. I walked into our bedroom and there she was, standing at my dresser, my necklace clasped around her neck. She was looking at herself in the mirror. She saw my reflection behind her and didn't jump. She just turned, slowly, a faint smile on her face. "This is lovely," she said, her fingers touching the pearl at her throat. "It really is." "What are you doing?" My voice came out flat. "Oh, I was just admiring it. It's so pretty." She didn't take it off. "That's my necklace. From Daryl." "I know," she said. She finally unclasped it, laying it back in the dish with exaggerated care. "It would look so much better on me, though. Silver suits my complexion, don't you think?" I was frozen. The audacity was so complete, it left me speechless. She walked past me and out of the room, like nothing had happened. I heard the front door open and close a minute later. When Daryl got home, I was still shaking. I told him what happened. His reaction was worse than I could have imagined. He laughed. A soft, dismissive chuckle. "Oh, that's just Mom. She's always been like that with shiny things. She doesn't mean anything by it. She was in our bedroom, trying on my jewelry. She said it would look better on her. She's jealous. It's a compliment, in a weird way. She liked the necklace." He put his hands on my shoulders. "Tell you what, I'll get her one just like it for her birthday. Then she'll have her own." Problem solved. Problem solved. He genuinely thought that was a solution. Not, "I will tell my mother that entering our private space and trying on your things is completely unacceptable." Instead, the solution was to reward the behavior. I felt the ground shift under my feet. He didn't see it. He truly, honestly did not see what was wrong. That was when I started to feel lonely in my own marriage. It was a cold, creeping feeling. And then there was Molly. Molly is my dog. I've had her since she was a puppy. She's 12 now, a Chihuahua mix with a grizzled face and a heart bigger than her whole body. She's been with me through college, through bad breakups, through moving across the country for my first job. She sleeps curled in the crook of my knees every night. Daryl likes her well enough. She's my dog. His mum never liked Molly. She'd make comments about yappy little rats. She'd avoid touching her. When we moved into the house, Molly claimed a particular spot on the couch. It's a corner where the sun hits in the afternoon. She's old, her joints are stiff, and that warm spot is her comfort. A few months after the jury thing, his mum announced she had suddenly developed an allergy to dogs. She'd never mentioned any allergy in the 5 years I'd known her. Not once. We'd been in houses with dogs. She'd been in Daryl's old apartment with Molly. Nothing. My eyes just start itching and swelling, she said, dramatically dabbing at them when she came over. It must be the dander. It's gotten worse as I've gotten older. I suggested, politely, that maybe we could meet at her house instead, or go out for coffee. She laughed. A bright, tinkling laugh. "Oh, don't be silly, Kate. This is Daryl's home. I'm not going to be kept out of my son's home because of a dog." Then she looked at Daryl. "It's just so hard for me to breathe here sometimes." Daryl looked worried. "Maybe we should keep Molly in the bedroom when you're over, Mum." "That's a good idea," she said, smiling sweetly at me. So that became the rule. When his mum was over, which was most days, Molly had to be shut in our bedroom. I'd hear her little whines from behind the door. Confused. It broke my heart. I tried to shorten the visits, make excuses, but Daryl would want her to stay for dinner, to watch a movie. Molly would be in there for hours. I started to resent coming home. I'd pull into the driveway and see his mum's car, and my stomach would knot. I'd sit in the car for a few minutes, just breathing. I started working later, finding excuses to not be there. The house didn't feel like mine anymore. It felt like her territory, and I was the awkward guest who kept messing things up. The breaking point was so stupid, so small, but it was the last straw on a pile that was already collapsing. It was a Sunday. I'd been at the grocery store. I came back, bags in hand, and pushed the door open with my hip. The living room looked different. It took me a second to process. She had taken Molly's dog fence, the one we used to block off the kitchen sometimes when we cooked, and she had built a barricade with it. She'd connected the panels and made a little pen that surrounded the entire couch. And inside the pen, on the floor, was Molly. Molly was lying on her dog bed, looking sad and confused. On the couch, in Molly's sunny spot, sat his mom. She was reading a magazine, a cup of tea on the coffee table in front of her. I put the grocery bags down. "What is this?" She looked up, over the top of her magazine. "Oh, hello, Kate. I had to do something. This dog was being aggressive. She tried to jump up next to me and snapped at me. I couldn't have that. So I just used what was available to make sure we were both safe." Molly, aggressive. Molly, who once cried because a fly landed on her nose. Molly, who is currently staring at me with her big watery eyes, trapped on the floor. "She was trying to get to her spot," I said, my voice tight. "You're sitting in her spot. She's an old dog, Carol. That's where she sleeps. She wasn't being aggressive. She wanted to lie down." "It's a couch, dear, not a dog bed. Dogs belong on the floor." She turned a page of her magazine. Something in me snapped. It wasn't a loud snap. It was a quiet, final click, like a lock turning. All the time she'd messed with my things, all the insults disguised as concern, the jewelry, the lasagna, the towels, the constant, daily erosion of my peace, it all coalesced into one clear, cold point of rage. I walked over to the fence. I didn't open it. I just looked at her over the plastic mesh. "Get out," I said. My voice was quiet, but it didn't shake. She lowered her magazine. "Excuse me? Get out of my house. Now." She blinked, a look of pure, offended astonishment spreading over her face. "This is Daryl's house. It is my house. Mine and Daryl's. And you do not get to come in here and pen my dog up like an animal. You do not get to make rules here. You do not get to rearrange my life. Get your things and get out." She stood up, slowly. She was taller than me. She drew herself up to her full height. "How dare you speak to me like that? I am his mother, and I am his wife. And you are a guest in our home, a guest who has overstayed her welcome by about 5 years. Leave the key on the counter on your way out." Her face went pale, then flushed red. She grabbed her purse and her magazine. She didn't say another word. She stormed out, the front door slamming so hard the windows rattled. I immediately opened the fence panel. Molly limped out, and I scooped her up. I sat on the couch, in the warm spot, holding her and shaking. I wasn't crying. I was just trembling, a full body tremble like I was cold. I felt dizzy. I sat there for a long time. Daryl came home an hour later. He'd been at the hardware store. He walked in, cheerful. "Hey, where's Mum? Her car's not outside." I told her to leave. He stopped. "What?" I told her to get out. She fenced Molly into a pen on the floor so she could sit in her spot. I told her to leave and not to come back. His face changed. The easy cheer vanished, replaced by something hard and angry. "You did what?" She had it coming, Daryl. For years. You know she's had it coming. She's my mother, Kate. She's an old woman. She was just sitting on the couch. She was torturing my dog to prove a point, to prove she has more power here than I do. And you let her. You've always let her. You're being completely irrational. It's a dog. It's a couch. You made a huge scene and kicked my elderly mother out of her son's house over nothing. It's not nothing. I was shouting now. Molly hid under the couch. It's never nothing. It's every single day. It's her in my bedroom, wearing my necklace. It's her throwing out my food. It's her telling me I'll never be as good as Rachel. It's her trying to erase me from my own life. And you just stand there and tell me I'm too sensitive. Because you are. You're looking for reasons to hate her. She's not perfect, but she's family. You don't just throw family out. She's not my family. You are. You're supposed to be my family. And you've never once taken my side. Not once. We stood in the middle of the living room, yelling. It was the first real fight we'd ever had. All the quiet resentments, all the swallowed words came pouring out in a torrent of accusations and hurt. He said I was selfish, that I didn't understand family loyalty. I said he was a coward, that he cared more about his mum's feelings than his wife's sanity. It ended when I said the words. I didn't plan to say them, they just came out. It's her or me, Daryl. He went silent. He stared at me. What? You choose. Right now, you call your mother and you tell her that her behavior has been unacceptable, that she is not welcome here unless she can show me basic respect, and that you and I are a united front. Or you don't, and if you don't, then I'm leaving. I can't live like this anymore. I won't. His face was a mask of confusion and betrayal. You're giving me an ultimatum? Over my mother? Yes, I am. Because this isn't living. I'm miserable in my own home. I dread coming home. I feel like an intruder, and you're the one who's letting it happen. So choose. He didn't say anything. He just turned and walked out. He got in his car and drove away. I didn't know where he went. Probably to her house. That was 3 days ago. He came back that night, late. I was in bed, awake. He got into bed without saying a word. He didn't touch me. We've been living in silence since then. He goes to work, I go to work. We eat separately. The house is so quiet it feels haunted. He hasn't chosen, or his silence is his choice. I don't know. I sleep on the couch now, with Molly. She gets her spot back. He hasn't said anything about that either. His mum hasn't come over. Her car hasn't been in the driveway. I don't know if he's seen her. I don't ask. I keep waiting for something to happen. For him to come to me and say he's sorry, that he sees it now. Or for him to pack a bag. The waiting is its own kind of torture. Every time his phone buzzes, I wonder if it's her. Every time he's late from work, I think he's at her house, talking about how awful I am. I go through the motions. I make coffee. I feed Molly. I go to work. I come home. The house is clean, the way I like it. Nothing has moved. It feels empty. I think about what I said. Her or me. It sounds so dramatic, but it didn't feel dramatic when I said it. It felt like the only logical conclusion. A mathematical equation where all the variables had finally been accounted for. There was no other possible sum. I don't know if I'm overreacting. Some days I think, it's just a mother-in-law. Every woman has problems with her mother-in-law. Suck it up. Other days I think, no, this is different. This is a campaign. And my husband is a conscientious objector. I look at him across the silent kitchen, and I don't recognize him. The quiet, steady man I married is gone. In his place is a stranger who looks at me with wary, hurt eyes. He thinks I've broken the family. I think the family was already broken, and I just stopped pretending it wasn't. I don't know what happens next. That's the worst part. The not knowing. I have a bag half packed in the guest room, just in case, but I don't want to leave. This is my house. I paid for half of it. I painted the walls. I planted the hydrangeas out front. I don't want to be driven out. But I also don't know how to stay if nothing changes. If he can't or won't choose. So I wait. I wait in the quiet, sunlit spot on the couch with my old dog. I wait for the man I love to come back, or to leave for good. And every day, the silence gets a little heavier, and the life we were supposed to be building feels a little more like something I imagined a long time ago.